Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, December 5, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that we have that ridge of high pressure that's still responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can still see that portion of the southwestern Atlantic is being plagued by numerous cold fronts, still affecting portions of Florida and the Bahamas. We can see that we now have a trough situated across the Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, Haiti, and to the east of Jamaica. But we don't have much clouds with that, and you'll see shortly. And we can also see that we still have another trough right there to the northeast of South America. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that trough to the northeast of South America. Some of these clouds bring some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to sections of French Guiana, Suriname, and Guyana at this time. We can also see that low level flow of clouds, all courtesy of the flow of winds brought about by that high pressure. So all of that flow moving from east to west. We can also see the clouds associated with that cold front. It's tilting from northeast to southwest across portion of the Bahamas, Florida, and the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, still bringing some amount of overcast skies and showers there. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, December 5. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of eastern Jamaica from Monday night into Tuesday. And we know when we're talking about eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so sections of Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? We can see a post was made on our Twitter page. Keep in mind that it wasn't only made on our Twitter page, but our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok page. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make other posts different from the ones we make here on our YouTube channel. So we can see the post was made at about 12:51 p.m., highlighting the visible satellite images showing clouds coming into sections of Portland, St. Thomas, and some of these clouds even spilled into sections of central and even made it as far as western Jamaica as well. And they indeed brought some amount of overcast skies, if not some amount of isolated showers to some areas. And if we take a look at the latest visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can still see that we had some amount of clouds still coming into sections of St. Thomas and Portland. We can also see that we had some amount of clouds across inland areas of some western parishes as well. So northern St. Elizabeth, eastern Westmoreland, southern St. James definitely gotten on some amount of overcast skies and one or two brief isolated showers. But for the most part, the coastal areas were clear, and we can even see right now that on the infrared satellite images of Jamaica, we don't have much happening at all. Just a few here and there patches of clouds, as represented by those grays coming in from the east. And we can see that we didn't have much in the way of thunderstorm activity taking place. We don't see those high cold cloud tops, no blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, or purples at all. It's just definitely some low level clouds. And the Cuban Doppler radar images confirm this. We don't see much taking place across Jamaica at all at this point. As it relates to the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours across Jamaica, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall today. So definitely eastern parishes in Jamaica, and then sections of especially inland areas of some central and western parishes, just like what we saw on the visible satellite images just now. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on Wednesday morning, tonight that is, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Let us take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. We can see the area in and around Jamaica still embedded in some yellows and some slight oranges. And when we take a look at the key on the right, that's representative of 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. Keep in mind that this map is from the GFS and it is valid for 18Z on Wednesday. When we calculate 18Z, that's actually 1 p.m. So that's definitely in the forecast. And we know the average temperatures for the month of December across Jamaica is about the same as 87 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 87 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. As it relates to the dry air map, we can still see Jamaica still embedded in a lot of yellows, oranges, and we can see by the key on the bottom that's representative of some amount of dry air. So definitely some yellows, some oranges. We're definitely heading into some, deep dry air. As we can see, not much convection at all, but we do see a lot of moist air associated with those cold fronts across the Gulf of Mexico and the southeastern United States. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that 2 p.m. on Wednesday has majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, in the clear, with all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert across portions of the main development region and Africa. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can see the blues surrounding the island, and we know the blues are representative of some amount of wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. So it looks to be that it's the northern portion of the island that are going to be getting those lighter shades of blues. And we know the lighter shades of blues, as we can see by the key right here, represent up to zero point 0.5 for meter wave height, while the darker shades of blues represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And we can see why. The winds are not going to be that strong at all. It looks to be the strongest on the waters south of the island, where we have those darker or brighter shades of greens that represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots coming in from the east. But for the most part, it looks to be coming in from the northeast across the island for tomorrow. We don't see much, and we have strong winds at all. More, and we have blues that represent anywhere from 5 to 10 knot winds, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS small. So we do have consensus for the wind direction and the wind speeds for Wednesday. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, when we take a look at where we have the consensus and when, we see northern Jamaica on both the Euro and the GFS mall, not to mention maybe even eastern Jamaica, and this is valid for 1 a.m. sorry, on a Wednesday. So this is later on tonight. That's when we're gonna be seeing some amount of isolated showers taking place across sections of some northern parishes. So maybe St. Mary, Portland, St. Anne, sections of Trelawney, who knows, spilling into sections of St. James. And we can also see sections of eastern Jamaica embedded in that, maybe sections of St. Thomas or Portland as well. Taking a look at the forecast some hours later, we can see that this map from the Euro and the GFS, this is valid for about 4 p.m. Jamaica time. And we do see the blues across sections of some eastern and central and western parishes, as well as northern parishes on the Euro model. Euro is a bit more robust with where the rainfall is expected, but the GFS is a bit conservative, showing more of that rainfall across sections of western St. Thomas, sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, inland areas of some central parishes. So southern Trelawney, southwest St. Anne, northern Manchester, northern Clarendon. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, both maps are showing rainfall. It's not much in the way of rainfall, as you can see by both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecast, but there's definitely rainfall in the forecast, so we'll see exactly how that unfolds, and we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the deeper part of the dry season. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can still see those low-level clouds pushing from east-west across the eastern Caribbean into the western Caribbean. We can see some isolated showers still affecting portions of Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, eastern Nicaragua, sections of the eastern Caribbean. Lots of clouds coming in from the east to affect sections of northeastern South America. So definitely sections of Venezuela are next. A lot of this rainfall is still affecting the waters to the northeast of South America, and some of this is definitely going to be spilling into portions of the Windward Islands. So Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Barbados, definitely going to be getting in on some more rainfall. And if we take a look at the latest Barbados Doppler radar images, we can still see that we have some amount of rainfall coming in from the east. Not a lot of rainfall, just a lot of hit or miss isolated showers. You can see one rain band passing to the north of Barbados at this time. Some of these rain bands going into sections of the Grenadine Islands as we speak. Zooming out, we do see that rain band passing to the north of Trinidad. Some rain bands off to the far east of Trinidad and Tobago, definitely pushing westward. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. More rainfall maybe to come later on tonight into tomorrow. As it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some amount of rainfall as we just saw on the visible satellite images coming into sections of northern Guatemala, coastal areas of Honduras, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula. And as it relates to the temperature forecast for Wednesday, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. And we do see those yellows and some slight oranges that represent up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures across the Caribbean. We can see morning we have average to slightly below average temperatures across the Gulf of Mexico, but look what we see across the eastern US. A lot of below average temperatures. Look at those greens and purples. They're definitely being plagued by cooler weather as we speak across portions of the eastern and southern United States. As relates to the siren, dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday across the Caribbean. Majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear. All the dust associated with the Sahara Desert is across portions of the eastern main development region and Africa, as well as portions of the central main development region. But keep in mind that this is on the low end of the scale in terms of dust. These are some lighter shades of browns. What we see when we're talking about some vigorous plumes is some darker shades of browns, and we don't have that at all. We usually see those vigorous plumes in the months of June and July. As it relates to the wave forecast, we'll still see much of the same. Majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on those blues that represent 1 to 1.5 or even close to 2 meter wave heights. The purples, as usual, mean to 2 to 3 meter wave heights. So northern portions of, well, to the north of Panama and Colombia, east of the Caribbean, that's where we see the purples. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest wherever those waves are highest. So we can see the strong winds represented by the yellows. We see them to the north of Colombia, to the east of the Caribbean. So definitely 25 knots, maybe gusting to 20, maybe gusting to 30 knots. And for the most part, it's coming in from the east, and we can see those greens that represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots. Look at the waters to the north. Look up there. We see a lot of strong winds coming off the southeast coast of the United States associated with that cold front. We see all of those yellows, those, what's that, gold, maybe up to 30 knot wind. More in the way of a northeasterly flow across the western Caribbean, so they're definitely feeling the effects of that cold front. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with what was shown as well. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, now we can see the consensus, especially right there across the southeastern portion of the basin, where we have that trough. So definitely northeastern South America are gonna be getting in on some amount of rainfall. So definitely sections of French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, where we see all of those yellows and reds up to 1 inch of rainfall or more, maybe bringing some isolated flash flooding to some spots. Some of this rainfall spilling into sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, sections of Barbados, sections of St. Vincent, St. Lucia. You can also see some rainfall in the forecast for a section of Dominica, Guadeloupe, maybe even sections of the northeastern Caribbean, maybe as far north as Antigua and Barbuda, maybe southern portion of the Dominican Republic for sure. GFS is a bit different from what is being shown across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Martin, St. Kitts, and Puerto Rico, and not so much on the Euro at all. But we see the consensus across sections of Central America. So anywhere from Belize and the Cayman Islands west and southward. So northern Guatemala, coastal areas of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, into Colombia, especially Western Colombia. That's where we see the consensus. That's where we see the agreement in terms of the rainfall that is forecasted. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing something similar like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.